How's it going, my Saab friends? My name is Gary and this is my channel, Weakest of Weeks. If you're a first time viewer, I appreciate you clicking on the video and definitely consider subscribing. Today's adventure is I believe the fourth part installment of my Junkyard Adventure series where my local pick and pull gets a Saab and I go harvest some parts. So recently I just received word that there is a 2008 Saab 9.3, just a regular 4-cylinder, nothing too fancy, but I did look up the VIN. If you're curious about how I figure out what options this car has before I actually make it to the junkyard, click the link in the description and I show you how to decode the VIN. But by doing that, I found out that it has some pretty good parts. I don't know if they're still on the car. It has been in the yard for roughly 24 hours, but if you can tell, it's actually kind of been a torrential downpour the past hour, and I'm probably the only idiot around here that is willing to go to the junkyard during a flood watch. So I'm hoping there is still a bunch of good parts, but I figured now's a good time to take my Saab friends along for the journey. So let's go ahead and head to the junkyard. This poor Ultima is on an island. Actually, some deep water. Alright, just got here. Car is right behind me. Let's take a look, see if there's any usable parts. Well, that's a bummer. Pretty sure these are xenon headlights. This one looks in decent shape, so if it is in fact a xenon, definitely going to be snagging that. Man, somebody really wanted that. One broken ice block, one missing ice block. Yep, that's a win. That is xenon headlight. A little bit of cleanup should turn out pretty nice. Car also has fog lights. This one is busted. I think this one is still good. And I thought about pulling this headlight. I could probably find like a hazed over halogen
and bake this and replace the lens. However, when I was removing it, a bunch of water came pouring out of this thing, and it doesn't bode well with the electronics inside of here, so I'm assuming all this stuff's bad. These xenons have the what's called the lashing eye that lights up here, and then the LEDs in this corner, so if this thing's been full of water, it's definitely not worth it to take it. Yeah, I'm not seeing a key anywhere. Oh, these are memory seats. This is a pretty well optioned car. Memory seats, xenon headlights, cream interior. Pretty nice car, or at least it was once upon a time. Now I will say, this probably smells better than any other junkyard Saab that I've been in. I always check these little pockets, see if there's anything good, but this one is actually really clean. There's not much random stuff in here. Oh, look at that. That's a Connect. If you're a 90s kid, you remember what Connects are. Very cool. Go ahead and pull that cup holder out. Oh, I should probably check to make sure this thing works first. Yeah, it works. Oh. Wasn't exactly graceful, but came out, and I don't believe any tabs are broke. Nice. That's a good find. It's actually in pretty good shape. So the rain is let up. It's just very muggy out here, so I'm like sweating, and I probably have like dirt all over my face from wiping my dirty hands on it. But gonna do a quick voiceover real quick here, mainly because the initial explanation of the Junkyard left a lot to be desired. Basically, I'm explaining how well optioned this little car is. It has xenon headlights, has memory seats, and I'm at the point where I'm explaining the differences in some of the window regulators. This particular car is optioned with the comfort open function, which is the auto down of all four windows, as well as it is optioned with the anti-pinch protection, which is the auto up function, I believe just on the front two windows. I'm actually going to harvest this rear left window regulator because I'm pretty sure my red arrow, that one is on its way out. It kind of every so often gets a little crunchy sound, so I imagine the plastic is just getting old and brittle. And it's only a matter of time before it breaks. My window is stuck halfway down and the car does sit outside, so obviously you don't want a bunch of rain getting in there with the window partially down. So long-winded thing, but I'm going to be pulling out this rear driver window regulator. This back in the car, somebody will definitely find this useful. And unfortunately, on a day like today that's not super hot, this rubber stuff is very hard to get off this foam, so I don't think this foam is going to be salvageable. One rear left regulator. The grills I'm deciding not to take, so unfortunately they're in a little more rough shape than I thought they were. But this one, it's broke right here. I mean, just this plastic with age gets brittle. There's a couple other things. I mean, the tabs are actually in good shape. It's just stuff like this. I mean, my main goal here was to respray these a darker silver, like a graphite silver, like the Turbo X style, and put these grills onto my laser red car. But I think this is going to take a little too much prep for my liking because this stuff is all like flaking and it's bubbled up. Some of these side pieces are even worse. Like, look how wavy that is. And I think this was the worst one. Yeah, so I mean, somebody may find this stuff useful and they'll probably appreciate the fact that I've already taken them off, but for me, just not worth it. So I think that's gonna wrap it up. Pretty much pulled just about everything that I wanted to, minus obviously the taillights that are no longer here. But just a word to the wise, I get it, going in here, trying to come in here quick, pull parts, but when you're destroying stuff, it just makes it difficult for other people that may need those parts. So some things I will say are impossible with age to remove and not break, but like stuff like this, it's just kind of ignorant. Like for me, I treat it like my car, so whenever I remove something, I want it to be in the best shape as possible. One, because the part I'm either going to reuse or resell to somebody else that needs it. But also two, depending on what that part is attached to, somebody else may need that. So it's just kind of common courtesy. So if you're in a junkyard and you're dismantling a Saab, just be mindful that other people are interested in parts that you may not necessarily be interested in. So just keep that in consideration. Officially back home, and this is the haul that I took home. Got the left rear window regulator, ended up picking up this rear trunk trim to core panel. Now I didn't show pulling this from the junkyard. It's actually relatively simple. There's just a couple bolts on the back, 10 mil, and then 2 tabs, and it's just kind of this one giant assembly. So I ended up pulling this off mainly because I do plan to paint the trim on this red car more of that graphite gray Turbo X style color, and I figured it'd just be easier to have a spare one. That way I can shoot this with paint. That way if I need to drive this car around and the paint's drying, I don't have to have this panel removed. So it's just kind of handy. And this panel was actually only $5. Actually not even, it was $4.39 looking at the receipt. You saw me pull this cup holder. This is working. It's actually in really good shape. A lot of times the rubber in this little button is gone, but that works out great. All these tabs that hold it in place are in really good shape. That was only $5.99. Believe it or not, this window regulator cost me $29.99. There's a like $3 or $4 core charge on top of that. So just this window regulator cost me like 24 bucks, which I think is kind of ridiculous. But if you're looking for one on eBay, more than likely it's going to be more than that. And of course, this headlight, which I think is the pièce de résistance, which is the Xenon headlight, and it's actually in pretty good shape. It's a little hazed over, but to be expected. The car is 12 or 13 years old that I pulled it from. I don't know if this 100% works or not, but that should be pretty quick to plug into one of my 9.3s here to see if everything works. So things I'll be checking for is the lashing eye at the top. The yellow marker LEDs in that corner are notorious to go out, and of course the motor for the self-leveling system. But it even has the ballast, and that's for the self-leveling, so it's an actuator of some sort. My favorite find of today was only $21.99. That's right, $22 US for this Xenon headlight, which I think is just absolutely amazing and such a amazing solid deal. Grand total right here is $74.99 after tax, and of course the environmental fees that are now tacked on to junkyard parts. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any awesome Saab junkyard hauls, comment down below. Let me know what your favorite part is that you pulled from the junkyard. And if you like this kind of thing, you want to see more adventures, be sure to hit that subscribe button. With that being said, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you friends next time.